What's going on, guys? Bob Roche from RocheTechnology.com here with the second video in my switching to OS X series, and this video is going to cover this guy right up here, the menu bar, and basically in this video how it differs from Windows. So basically what the menu bar is it holds all your system options, such as how to get in system preferences, that's how you update it, that's how you see what kind of hardware is in your computer, that's how you restart, shut down, and log out of accounts. But not only that, this actually contains all the different settings and different options for every single application. And what I love about the menu bar over what Windows offers is that it's very consistent throughout the entire operating system. And so to demonstrate that, I'm just going to simply go ahead and click on a couple of apps here. So as you can see, I have iTunes right up here. I'll go ahead and give you guys, the full view of iTunes. And as you can see up here, it tells me what application is selected. I'll go ahead and turn that back into the mini player for now. But when I click on the desktop, you can see that it now has Finder selected, which is basically the OS X version of Windows Explorer. But as soon as I click into another application, it goes to the name of that application. Same thing if I come over here, Osfura is now selected, which is, an awesome Twitter client. So as you can see, it's very easy to tell what application is, the active application. I can come down here, open up Safari, and now I know that Safari is the active application. This comes in use when you have many different applications open on a single display, especially if you're on, say, for example, a laptop. So we'll come down here, we'll open up Preferences. So as you can see now, we have basically three things on the screen. We have System Preferences, we have Finder, and we have iTunes. Now just by looking up at the menu bar, you can easily tell which application is selected. And that's very convenient. Like I said, especially when you have a ton of applications open on one display, it can get kind of hard to discern which one is open. So now I'm going to give you guys a quick example of where this really shines. Right now I have a Safari window open, but now let's say, for example, I want to switch browsers and I want to start using Chrome. I really don't have to start looking all over for where all my options are because they're all in the same spot. As you can see, I go ahead and click into Safari. If I click Safari itself, I can get information about Safari, like the current version, things like that. I can get to all my preferences, services, things like that. Now if I go into Chrome, these menus haven't really moved. I can still get to preferences, I can still get to services, I can quit, and the same thing can be said about really any of these different options up here. So file menu, the edit menu, view, history, etc., etc. They're all basically the same right here within Safari. So that's very nice knowing that it's consistent throughout the entire operating system. Browsers really aren't that different from each other. Now you can go into Chrome here, and there are a couple more settings here, but for the most part, pretty much everything is exactly the same from browser to browser on OS X in terms of the preferences and the options available to the user. So now let's go ahead and have a look at Windows. Now I'm sure everyone here has seen Windows. At the top of the screen is nothing special, and that's because really it's nothing. There is nothing up here, and the reason that I kind of like the way OS X does it better, in terms of the menu bar, is that it's consistent among every single application. So I have a few applications I want to go ahead and demo for you right now. The first I'm going to show you is Internet Explorer. Now as you can see, if I had this open up in OS X, the menu bar would have all these different file menus and everything right up here. Now in Internet Explorer, they're actually found right here, Page, and there's tons of different stuff within here. We have safety. I'm not sure what all these different buttons are, like that just has to do with home page and stuff like that, but tools. So all your settings are confined right here to this area. Now if we go ahead and we'll open up, say, a Chrome window of some kind, where did it all go? Now within Chrome, it's all right here. Now I know this isn't up to Microsoft, it's up to Google, the people that develop these individual applications. But what I'm trying to say is that it's not consistent throughout the OS, and that will confuse people. I mean, they're both internet browsers. If you put Chrome on Grandma's computer and then she's used to Internet Explorer, she's not going to know where anything is, and that just doesn't happen on OS X because everything is right up here where, in my opinion, where it should be. It's consistent among every application. So now we'll even go ahead and we'll compare here Internet Explorer, and we'll go ahead and open up Word. And now even two applications that are from Microsoft have two entirely different layouts. Now I will say in Windows 8, I think even like Windows Explorer has this ribbon user interface, and that is better, that is more consistent, but even among apps like this, I don't believe the ribbon is coming to every single application, and so that's, while it is getting better, it is still fragmented. Now I know a lot of people are going to be sticking with Windows 7, so they're not going to have that user interface up here, that ribbon UI within Windows Explorer. If you want to go ahead and do some options within Windows Explorer, say you want to be able to show hidden files or something like that, how in the world do you go about doing that? Because they really don't give you, too many options here. You see a lot of these are grayed out, but that's, cut, copy, paste and stuff. System properties, that just takes you to a whole different screen, so that can be kind of confusing. And actually, to show these things, I discovered after a couple years of using Windows back in the day, hit the Alt key, and that will actually bring up all these different menus, and it's a hidden menu. I mean, I really don't think it should be like that. I think there is a better way they can do it, and I think that OS X kind of nailed it with having the menu bar up here where everything is right where it should be. So getting these browsers out of here, and by the way, it's very easy to quit. It's either a Command Q away, or I can even just come up here and quit Chrome. Really couldn't be much simpler. But now I want to go ahead and talk about something else, and that's using third-party applications with the menu bar. Now on a big display like mine, I do have tons of extra space. None of this stuff from like the help menu all the way over to like this eject icon would be here, with exception of Bluetooth and this guy right here that I am using to record. But like I was saying, I have a big display, so I have lots of room here. If you're on on like an 11-inch MacBook Air, then this may not be as nice for you. But the menu bar is actually a great area for developers that actually put ways to get to their third-party applications. For example, here's ScreenFlow. I can stop my recording, things like that. Here's Playback, which is a media server. I can just go ahead and get the preferences right from here. I don't have to open up the application from my application stack, things like that. Osfura, I'm actually still not quite 100% sure on how to say that, but regardless, this will light up blue if I have an at reply, or I think even any new tweets. Caffeine, this is very easy to activate. If I don't want my screensaver going on, I don't have to go into my preferences and change things. I can simply click this and it's good to go. I don't really have to do anything else. Splash Top, so you guys get the idea. I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but having this stuff right here a click away is very, very convenient, and it's a great place to put it because it doesn't get in the way. And now an application I get tons of questions about is this guy right here. This is called Istat Menus. This will actually show everything about your system. Each one of these resembles a core. I have all my top 5 apps right here using CPU power. Over here I have how full all my drives are and partitions, my memory usage. All this stuff is at a glance. So for example, if I have a full screen app here, if I'm doing some video editing, or if my system is slow and for some reason my CPU usage is way up here, I can actually just click right here and see what's taking up all my CPU usage. So even just little things like that, it is very, very convenient to have everything right up here in the menu bar. And some people will make the argument that all the menu bar does is take up some screen real estate, but honestly it really doesn't take up much screen real estate at all. If you look, it's about the height of my cursor, which really is not a lot of space at all. And I believe through some applications or terminal commands or something, there is a way that you can hide this and until you mouse over it, and it'll actually slide down real nice for you if you really want to go that route. But personally, I think that it just takes up such a small amount of space that really it isn't worth it. Now, if I want to get that Istat Menus sort of functionality in Windows, there really is no great place for it, and they kind of discovered that when they did gadgets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and right click, go to gadgets, and gadgets were kind of cool when they first came out. It was something different where you could just go ahead and drag there onto the desktop, and there you go, you have your CPU usage. I could even make it nice and beefy. I remember when Vista came out, they actually restricted this whole part of the screen just to gadgets. And if you have like a 30-inch display, that may not be a big deal, but no one has a 30-inch display. I mean, the biggest displays that people really have now are 27-inch with the couple exceptions of that 30-inch display. But a lot of people just have laptops with 15-inch displays and things like that. So that to take up a whole chunk of the screen isn't great, which is why in Windows 7 when they made these, you can just put them anywhere. It was nice because even if I come up here and I have an app that's full screen, I can just throw my mouse in the bottom right, and as you can see, I can see through my windows, which is a pretty neat idea. But the problem with that is that you can't see what you're doing and your CPU performance all at once. If you're exporting video or you're doing something very CPU intensive, or you want to see your memory usage, you don't want to have to hide everything you're doing just to be able to see that information, which is why the menu bar in OS X gives users a lot of space to make third-party applications very easily accessible. And I know another thing you can do on Windows is come down here and start the task manager, go ahead and head over to performance, and there you go. There's pretty much everything you want to see, but that's a lot of steps. I just want to be able to have all my information I need at a glance whenever I need it. I don't want to have to open up a separate menu or have to hide all my applications. So not only does the menu bar in OS X provide the users with a very seamless and very consistent experience, but it also gives third-party app developers a pretty neat place to put a lot of their third-party apps that people use on a daily basis without even realizing it until they're gone. So those are pretty much the main differences between the menu bar in OS X and just sort of the various menus throughout Windows. I think you'll find, and I think that you'll agree with me, that this is just more convenient. Now whether you personally prefer this is totally up to you, but if you're switching to OS X for the first time or you're just using a Mac, I do think that you really will appreciate its ease of use and its simplicity without having to go on a scavenger hunt to find all these different settings through various applications. So what do you guys think about the menu bar? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. I'm at CPUKid on Twitter. Also be sure to check out RocheTechnology.com and at RocheTechnology on Twitter. Be sure to let me know if you have any more suggestions for the switching to OS X series. As usual, you can expect my Hackintosh content, my product reviews, my unboxings, all that technology goodness. So before I ramble anymore, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.